You think you're helping your family until one text shatters everything. My name is Emily Dawson. I'm 35, and for the last 5 years, I thought I was just being a good daughter. I'd built a thriving marketing consultancy from the ground up after college, and once things really took off, I started sending my parents money each month. They'd always struggled with finances, and I wanted to make sure they had a stress-free retirement. $3,000 a month. That's what I sent. Every single month. No questions asked. I thought I was helping them survive. I thought they were proud of me. Then one rainy April afternoon, my entire world fell apart because of one stupid mistake. I was sitting in my home office watching the drizzle coat the window panes of my townhouse in Burlington, Vermont, when my phone buzzed. It was a message in the family group chat from my younger brother, Zach. At first it looked normal. The family ATM just dropped another $3,000. My heart stopped. Then another message popped up, this one from my father, Thomas. LMAO, keep that gravy train running. She's too dumb to realize we're using her. And finally, my mother, Linda, chimed in. Just bought those golf clubs you wanted, babe. Emily would flip if she knew her money was going there instead of Medicare. I stared at the screen unblinking. My pulse throbbed in my ears. At first, I thought, no, hope that maybe it was some horrible joke. But the screenshots kept coming. Zach tried to delete them, but it was too late. My phone had already saved everything. 3 years of messages, 3 years of my own family mocking me, laughing at how gullible I was, planning extravagant vacations behind my back, using my money for new cars, golf memberships, condo upgrades while they cried poor every time I asked if they were okay. One read, tell Emily Dad needs dental surgery. She can't resist a medical sob story. Another, let's see how fast she wires money this time. Betting pool anyone. It was like reading a script from some twisted sitcom where I was the punchline. I couldn't move. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even cry. Just hours before I was considering surprising them with a trip to Europe for their 70th birthdays. A gift. A thank you for everything I thought they'd sacrificed for me. Now I was staring at evidence that I'd just been a cash machine to them, a bank account with no voice, a means to their end. The betrayal felt physical, like someone had reached into my chest and twisted. And then came the call. My phone lit up. It was my mom. I answered in a daze. "Don't you dare pretend you didn't know what you were doing," she screamed. Her voice was so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. "We're family. You can't just abandon us because your feelings got hurt." I didn't respond right away. I couldn't. I sat frozen, the weight of everything I'd just seen crashing over me like a tidal wave. That's when the rage set in. All those years of helping, all those moments I second-guessed myself to give them more, all those late nights I worked to send money so they wouldn't go without. They were never grateful. They were laughing. They weren't worried about groceries or rent or medication. They were worried about tea times and lakefront upgrades. I remembered the Christmas I skipped vacation so I could send an extra $5,000 for a broken furnace that probably never existed. The winter nights I worked until 2 a.m. because they said Dad's insurance didn't cover his meds. The vacations I passed on the furniture I didn't buy all because I thought I was keeping my family safe and warm. Outside, the rain poured harder. Inside, a storm was forming. The kind you don't recover from overnight. The kind that changes everything. And I had no idea just how far this would go. I didn't sleep that night. The rain kept tapping against the window like a metronome, steady and cruel. I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, replaying every moment over the last 5 years. Every call where Mom cried about rising costs. Every time Dad said they were skipping meals to pay the heating bill. Every carefully worded message from Zach about how tight things were this month. It was all a performance. By sunrise, I felt hollow. I moved through my house like a ghost, brushing my teeth on autopilot, making coffee I didn't drink. My phone buzzed constantly, calls, texts, voicemails. Zach tried to delete the messages from the group chat, but I had already screen recorded them. Every message, every insult, every sarcastic thanks, again, ATM. At 9:13 a.m., there was a knock on my door. Through the peephole, I saw Zach, soaked from the rain, his hair plastered to his forehead. He looked wrecked, but I didn't care. I opened the door but didn't let him in. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice cold. "Emily, please," he said, rain dripping from his chin. "I can explain everything." Explain what? I held up my phone, the screen displaying one of his texts. "Just told Emily Dad needs dental surgery. Cinch." "It's not what it looks like," I cut him off. "Don't insult me." His shoulders dropped. "Mom and Dad, they started it. I didn't want to rock the boat. They needed help." "No, Zach. They needed a retirement plan. What they did was extortion dressed up as family guilt." I let that hang in the air. He didn't argue. "I've sent $3,000 a month for 5 years, Zach. That's $180,000. Do you even understand what that means?" He looked at his shoes. "I know it's a lot. And that's not counting the extras. The emergency funds, the $5,000 for the broken furnace, the $4,000 for Dad's heart tests, the car repairs, the roof leak. That's another 40 at least." He didn't say a word. "Do you know what I gave up?" I whispered. "Do you know what I went?" Without a flicker of guilt crossed his face. "They're freaking out. Dad's talking about refinancing the condo. Mom says she can't sleep. They didn't mean to." I laughed. They meant every word. "I have the receipts. But Emily, they really do need your help now. They can't cover the mortgage. They're used to the life I paid for." Zach opened his mouth, but nothing came out. "They bought a lakeside condo last year, Zach, while telling me they were behind on rent." He winced. "You all used me, and I let you. But that's over now." I shut the door. I didn't slam it. I didn't scream. I just closed it with quiet finality. And then I collapsed. I slid to the floor, phone still in my hand, and sobbed for what felt like hours. Not because they were suffering, but because I had believed them. Because I had wrapped my entire identity around being the daughter who could provide. And now I was nothing but a fool. That evening, I called Tara Quinn, my best friend and a damn good attorney. They did what she asked after I told her everything. They played me, I said. My voice was low, flat. For years. Tara didn't try to sugarcoat it. "You've been scammed, Em. Financial abuse isn't just something strangers do. I want to cut them off. Then we do it right. First, gather all the evidence, texts, transfers, everything. Then we identify any accounts they're connected to, insurance, retirement plans, anything that gives them access to your money." A chill passed through me. "They're on my insurance," I whispered. Tara paused. "We'll fix it." I nodded slowly, even though she couldn't see me. "I'm done being the ATM," I said. "They don't get another dollar." And for the first time since that text arrived, I felt something shift inside me. I wasn't broken. I was waking up. The next morning, I woke up before my alarm. No dreams, no hesitation, just a quiet, focused clarity. I didn't check my texts. I didn't scroll through old screenshots. I didn't cry. Instead, I made coffee, sat at my desk, and opened my laptop. The first tab I opened was my banking portal. There it was, every $3,000 monthly transfer for the past 5 years, plus the occasional $5,000, $4, $200, $300 wired for what I now knew were made-up emergencies. I opened a second tab, my investment account. I had created it 3 years ago as a surprise retirement gift for my parents. I was contributing $1,000 a month, quietly building it into a cushion they could fall back on when they turned 70. The current balance, $42, $680. I hovered over the close account button, but not yet. I wanted a clean break, not a rage-fueled reaction. Instead, I called the one person who had never manipulated me. Greenmount Bank, this is David, the voice on the other end said. Hi, David, this is Emily Dawson. I'd like to close an investment account under my name. The recipients were Thomas and Linda Dawson. He asked me a few security questions, confirmed my identity, and then walked me through the process. Since you're the sole account holder and the account was listed as a discretionary gift, we can close it immediately and return the full balance to your primary account within 3 business days, he explained. Perfect, I said. Also, please cancel all recurring transfers to the joint account ending in 9234. That's the $3,000 monthly, yes, effective immediately. As I ended the call, my shoulders dropped an inch. One weight lifted. Step 1 complete. Next, I called my health insurance provider. I'd added my parents as dependents 2 years ago when I learned they didn't have good coverage. I spent 30 minutes on hold before a calm, kind voice picked up. Healthwise Insurance, Anthony speaking. How can I assist you today? I explained the situation carefully without emotion. Just facts. I need to remove Thomas and Linda Dawson from my plan. Anthony paused. Normally, that requires a qualifying life event. But if they live separately and you no longer provide over 50% of their support, I can file this under a change of dependent status. Do it, I said. They'll receive a notice that their coverage ends at the close of the month. That gives them 30 days to find alternate insurance. That's more than fair, I said. Thank you. Family situations can be complicated, Anthony replied gently. Been there myself. Step 2, done. Then I opened my life insurance portal. 1 click to remove them as beneficiaries. I replaced them with a local children's education charity. Step 3, clean surgical final. I stared at my screen stunned at how fast it all came undone. Or maybe how fast I was finally taking control. That's when my phone buzzed again. Zach, Mom, and Dad are freaking out. Dad says the pharmacy denied his heart meds. What did you do? No apology. No remorse. Just panic about the money stopping. I stared at the screen and typed, "Their consequences are not my problem anymore." I didn't wait for his response. I opened a new document, titled it, Family Financial Support. 2018 to 2023, I listed every payment, every fake emergency, every transfer, every lie. By the time I was done, it was 12 pages long. Then I opened my email, attached the document, and typed, Subject documentation of financial support. Final notice to Thomas and Linda Dawson. From Emily Dawson. Attached is a comprehensive accounting of all financial support I have provided over the past 5 years, totaling $221,800. This includes recurring monthly transfers, emergency funds, and health insurance benefits. As of today, all recurring transfers have been canceled. Your insurance coverage under my plan will expire on the last day of this month. The supplemental retirement account has been closed. I have attached screenshots of your messages in which you admit to manipulating me while mocking my generosity. Do not contact me again unless it is to repay what you have taken under false pretenses. Emily. I read it over twice. No emotion, just truth. Then I hit send and block them all. Phone, email, social media. The silence afterward was unlike anything I'd ever known. Not lonely, not sad, just clean. For the first time in years, my money and my life were mine again. But I knew they wouldn't stay quiet for long. The silence lasted exactly 3 days. 3 whole days of uninterrupted peace. No guilt trips, no calls, no new emergencies, just silence. Then they showed up. It was 8:30 p.m. and I was sitting on the couch reviewing a client pitch when the doorbell rang. I knew it was them before I even looked. Through the peephole, my father, my mother, and Zach. Standing on the porch, damp from drizzle, wearing faces like masks, part anger, part desperation. I didn't open the door. Instead, I picked up my phone and called Tara. "They're here," I whispered like a child hiding from ghosts. "Don't let them in," she said instantly. "If they won't leave, call the police and report trespassing. Once they're inside, it becomes harder legally and emotionally to remove them." That's when the pounding started. "Emily," my father bellowed, "we know you're in there. You can't just cut us off without talking to us." I texted Zach. "I have nothing to say. Please leave or I'll call the police." I watched through the peephole as he checked his phone, showed it to our parents, and then an argument broke out. Mom started crying. Dad turned red with rage. Eventually, they stormed off, but not before my father turned back and shouted, "You're going to regret this, Emily. We're family. You don't abandon family." I didn't answer, because they had abandoned me a long time ago, not physically, but emotionally. They abandoned respect, compassion, truth, all for comfort and control. The next day, the messages began again, this time through email. Linda Dawson. "Your father's blood pressure is dangerously high. Your behavior is literally putting his health at risk. Please stop this. Thomas Dawson. Grow up and stop this childish behavior. You're acting like some bitter little girl instead of our daughter. Zach. They can't pay the mortgage without you. What are you trying to prove?" I forwarded all of them to Tara, then blocked the email addresses. 3 days later, a certified letter arrived. I opened it cautiously, half expecting legal threats. It was a handwritten note from my mother. "Emily, we don't understand why you're punishing us like this. Yes, we made some jokes in poor taste, but that's what families do. Your father's medication is $450 a month without insurance. The mortgage is due next week. We might lose our home. Is that what you want? For your elderly parents to be homeless? Please stop this cruelty. We just want to talk. Elderly." That word nearly made me laugh. They were 65 and in perfect health. Dad's golf game was still excellent, judging by the country club photos Zach had stupidly uploaded to the group chat. Still, something in me needed confirmation. So I called the pharmacy where Dad filled his prescriptions. "Hi, I'm calling about my husband's heart medication. Thomas Dawson. What would it cost out of pocket without insurance?" "Let me check," the pharmacist said politely. After a pause, "It's $42 for a 30-day supply, ma'am, not $450. Another lie. That evening, Zach showed up again, this time at my office parking lot. I was locking up when he stepped into my path looking ragged. "Emily, please. They're falling apart." "Dad's talking about filing for bankruptcy." I didn't even flinch. "That's not my problem anymore." "How can you be so cold?" he asked, voice cracking. "They're our parents." I stared at him. Are they because real parents don't scam their kids? Real parents don't laugh behind their daughter's back while spending her money on luxury condos. They made mistakes. No, a mistake is forgetting my birthday. What they did was coordinated fraud. You joined in. I have proof. He didn't deny it. "They're losing the condo," he said quietly. "It's already in pre-foreclosure." I paused. For a second, I felt that old tug of guilt. Then I remembered the text. "Just convinced Emily we're behind on rent. Meanwhile, we're closing on the lake condo next week. Cheers. They never should have bought something they couldn't afford." I replied. "What about Dad's medication? You mean the $42 prescription?" I smiled coldly. "He can get a job at Walmart if he's short." Zach's eyes widened. "How do you—" I did my research. "No more lies, Zach." I stepped around him and got into my car. "Tell them to look into assistance programs," I said before pulling away. "That's what they're there for." "Emily," he shouted after me. "They're talking about moving in with me. I can't handle that. I didn't stop." "That sounds like a you problem, Zach." 2 weeks after I cut them off, I sat in a therapist's office for the first time in years. Dr. Reyes was a calm, sharp woman in her 50s with silver-framed glasses and eyes that didn't flinch when I told her what happened. Every day I swing between feeling strong and feeling horrible, I admitted. Yesterday I found out they had to cancel their country club membership, and I actually felt guilty for hours. That's grief, she said gently. You're grieving the family you thought you had. I'm angry, I said, but I'm also sad and confused. That's because you're also grieving your role, she continued. You weren't just their daughter. You were their provider. You built your identity around being their support system. Now that role is gone, and with it, your illusion of closeness. I stared at the box of tissues beside me, but didn't reach for it. Not yet. That afternoon, as I stepped out of her office, I saw a missed call from a number I didn't recognize. I ignored it. Then a voicemail. It was my uncle, my dad's brother, Ron. We hadn't spoken in years, but I listened anyway. Hey, Emily, it's Uncle Ron. Just got a strange call from your dad. Said you'd cut them off financially and they were about to lose their house. He asked if they could come live with us. Figured I should hear your side. I called him back, and I told him everything. The texts, the fake emergencies, the $221,000, the mockery, the betrayal. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment. I'm not surprised, he finally said. Your dad pulled something similar on me years ago. That's why we don't talk much. I froze. You knew I knew he had tendencies. I didn't know it had gotten this bad. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have believed me back then? No. He was right. I wouldn't have. I told him no, by the way, Ron added. I'm not housing two grown adults who blew through 6 figures and still want more. I told them to downsize and live within their means. He hung up on me. I felt something strange swell in my chest. Not anger, not grief, validation. I wasn't crazy. I wasn't cruel. I was just finally seeing clearly. That night, I got another text from Zach from a different number. Mom and Dad are moving in next week. They sold the condo. Dad's furious. I can't believe this is happening. I didn't respond. 3 days later, another one. The car got repossessed. This is getting really bad. I almost responded. Almost. But then I remembered another message from the old group chat. Emily just asked if Dad's okay after his doctor's appointment. I can't, she's such a sucker. They had played me like a piano, and now the music had stopped. Week 3 brought an email from a name I didn't recognize. Subject message from your parents. Apparently, they'd enlisted a family friend to contact me. The email read like a plea. They had sold most of their furniture, were living in Zach's spare room, and were applying for food stamps. My father's health was deteriorating from the stress. They just wanted a chance to talk and apologize. I stared at the screen for a moment, then deleted it, because I knew exactly what their version of apology would sound like. Manipulation disguised as remorse, regret without responsibility. I didn't owe them another conversation, not after everything. Instead, I poured myself a glass of wine and stepped onto my balcony. The air was crisp, the sky clear, no tension in my jaw, no buzz in my phone, no monthly withdrawal draining my account. For the first time in my adult life, I was truly, truly free. 6 months after I cut off all contact, I came home from a business trip and found them waiting on my porch. My parents, Thomas and Linda Dawson. I stopped in my Trax keys still in my hand. They looked small, smaller than I remembered. Dad had lost weight. Mom's hair, once always perfectly highlighted, had grown out with gray roots showing. Their clothes were plain unfamiliar, cheaper. Part of me wanted to turn around and drive away, but Dr. Reyes had warned me this moment might come. You don't have to let them in, she'd said, but if you do, stay standing. Set a time limit. Listen for real remorse, not just consequences. So I walked up the path, keeping my heart wrapped in armor. What are you doing here? I asked, flat. Mom's voice cracked. Emily, please. We just want to talk. We've learned our lesson, Dad added. I unlocked the door. 5 minutes. They stepped inside like people walking through a courtroom, not a home. They sat on the edge of my couch. I remained standing, arms crossed. "We're sorry," Mom began. "We never should have taken advantage of your generosity. We've lost everything," Dad added. "The condo, the car. We're living in Zach's spare room. She sleeps on a pullout. All our friends at the country club have disappeared," Mom said. "We're embarrassed. My medication's been hard to manage," Dad added. "Without your insurance." They listed it all, what they'd lost, how much they were suffering, what it felt like to be on the other side. But never, not once, did they say, "We hurt you." Not once did they say, "We were wrong." Only we're paying for it now. I let the silence hang until they finally stopped talking. "Is that it?" I asked. Mom leaned forward. "We want to make things right. We've really suffered," Dad said. "We've learned our lesson." "What lesson would that be?" I asked. They exchanged glances. "That we shouldn't have taken you for granted," Dad said at last. "Not we shouldn't have used you. Not we shouldn't have mocked you. Just for granted." "You still don't get it," I said softly. Mom bristled. "We came all this way to apologize." "No," I corrected. "You came to tell me how hard it's been without my money." Dad frowned. "We said we're sorry. For getting caught," I said. "Not for what you did." I took a deep breath. In the past 6 months, I've thought a lot about what a healthy family looks like. And it's not this. It's not manipulation. It's not control. It's not mocking your child behind her back while spending her money on golf clubs. Mom's face hardened. "So you're just going to keep punishing us over a few jokes?" "This isn't punishment," I said. "This is self-protection. We're your parents," Dad said, as if that settled it. "And I was your daughter," I replied. "Not your bank." I walked to the door and opened it. "I wish you well. Truly. I hope you figure it out, but I can't be part of your lives anymore. You can't mean that," Mom whispered, tears finally falling. "We need you." "No," I said. "You need what I can provide. There's a difference." Dad stood, voice rising. "After everything we've done for you," I turned sharply. "What exactly have you done for me?" Silence. They had no answer. They walked out slowly. At the door, Mom turned back one last time. "You'll regret this, Emily. In the end, family is all you have." I shook my head. "No, Mom. Love is what makes a family. What you offered me was just a transaction." I closed the door. Leaning against it, I waited for the wave of guilt, of pain, of second-guessing. It didn't come. Just peace. The storm had passed. The ATM was closed, and I was finally beautifully free. Have you ever had to walk away from your own family to protect your peace? Share your story below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.